What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to my in-depth analysis and review of the Ascended Mareeta Banner. So let us begin with the main star of the show, which is Mareeta herself, and this time she is another sword infantry unit. She comes with Ascending Blade, which gives her -1 special cooldown, which makes Vital Astra as a 1-turn special, and she can then pre-charge this with the Time Pulse built into her weapon, and she also has a mini special spiral. So this makes her a fantastic user of Vital Astra, a special that she comes with, and this scales off based on her speed and also provides her with damage reduction if her special is ready. So this special is inheritable and I've made a full video on the best users of it. You can check that out in the description right below that like button. But Ascended Mareeta is pretty much the best user of this special because of her weapon, so she can get extra damage reduction out of this weapon and combine that with Spurn and you'll pretty much get 58% damage reduction. Ascended Mareeta also has Null Follow-Up in her weapon, which can definitely improve her many matchups, and because of the damage reduction she can be deceptively bulky. So she's pretty much a new god sword that we have got, who utilizes their high speed, uses Null Follow-Up and also uses damage reduction. And she's definitely one of the best sword infantry units along with Brave Marth in the game, but of course she's going to be used a lot as a fodder because of her Vital Astra. Now if you want to build her up on a budget, then you just need to give her reposition and attack speed solo and you're pretty much done. Her base kit is really good and she doesn't really need Time Pulse in her slot C, so she can afford to run even Tempest. And Vantage is also something that you could try because keep in mind that she does have a mini special spiral in her weapon, so you can definitely take advantage of that. And because she's an Ascended unit, she can basically get the Ascended asset for free without even using any kind of floret. So you can pretty much give her plus speed IV or plus attack IV depending on whatever you get, but overall plus speed IV is going to be helping with the damage reduction skills that she has got. If you want to use her as a Gale Force unit, then you could try running Windsweep because it does have good synergy with the Null Follow-Up in her weapon, so she can basically attack twice without even getting counter-tagged, and she can easily run Flashing Blade because of her high speed. Of course, like with any kind of damage reduction sword infantry unit, Mareeta can also run Distant Counter or Distant Stance in her slot A, and because of her damage reduction she can definitely take on a lot of ranged threats and mages, despite the fact that she doesn't have the highest resistance. In Aether offense, Omni-tanking is not really as popular as it used to be because now we have safe tanks, so a lot of people do prefer to use that along with Flame and still get the damage reduction on those really ridiculously bulky armor units who also have the safe skills. So Mareeta could definitely be used more offensively as a Gale Force unit, pretty much with Wings of Mercy, and she can have a 2 cooldown Gale Force, which is not something that a lot of units can have. I mean, Navarre can pretty much have that as a free-to-play unit, but there's a big difference between the power level of Navarre and Mareeta. So this can pretty much allow you to get Gale Force out of a single hit, and that can be really helpful if you're facing some frail team or you're using a lot of Savage Blow or Bolt Tower. So this can definitely be helpful to Gale Force off of just one hit, and many times this is going to be helping you tremendously in your Gale Force teams. At the end, if you do plus and merge her, then she can be used in Arena, and she's going to be amazing there with Vital Astra of course, and she can just run Distant Stance to get even more resistance, and Attack Speed Menace is going to be helping you because again she doesn't have to run Time Pulse. August is a staff infantry unit with Diplomacy Staff as his preferred weapon, and this can provide some amazing support. So this pretty much has Wrathful Staff built into it, and he can buff up a support partner for +6 attack, defense and resistance buff, and also give them the auto follow-up. And this auto follow-up only works in the player phase. This is kind of similar to the Legendary Lucina's Future Vision 2 that we have seen. This is pretty much that, but only to that support partner, and this is a global buff. So this allows you to have a better player phase with even a slower unit by getting that auto follow-up. The second part of this weapon does provide -2 special cooldown and the follow-up negation to the support partner if an ally has died. So yeah, this part of this weapon is definitely really niche because in pretty much most game modes in FEH, you are penalized for dying, except for maybe, you know, Summoner duels where you can trade the units, and this is pretty much going to be useful in Summoner duels most of the time. Not in Aether offense, not in Arena, definitely not in the limited hero battles or anything like that because it's going to be game over. So this is the main use of August, which is to provide that auto follow-up to a support partner, and also the secondary effect being useful in summoner duels. Now keep in mind that summoner support and ally support are always the player's sided effects. You're not going to be able to use this if you put him on AETHER defense. The AI is not able to use this effect, so this is only going to be useful in the player's hands. He ends up having a pretty good stat spread actually, having high base attack and quite good mixed bulk. He also has defense respond 4 and even recovery, making him a really good fodder for healers with that nudge plus and also the bomb plus skill. And even with just defense respond 4, it does make him a good fodder because this skill is useful on a lot of safe tanks, because they can just negate any kind of dark shrine debuffs or any kind of debuffs to their defense and resistance, which definitely helps them tank better. Overall, August is a pretty good staff infantry unit who's unique because of his diplomacy staff and how it can make use of the ally support mechanic. Unfortunately, the second part of this weapon is way too niche and it is not going to be working in pretty much most game modes, so you're not going to be seeing him all that much, but still he does provide you with some really unique support, and that's always good to see on these healers. For a budget build, you can simply run Wings of Mercy 3 in a slot B, and that will have pretty good synergy with the bond skill that he has got, and he can just nudge someone forward. Nudge is basically a healing shove, so that does help. And you can also run attack resistance push 4 if you want to make use of the Wrathful Staff built into his weapon and combine it with Dazzling Staff. You can also use his high resistance for sabotage attacking people, and we do have sabotage attack now thanks to Salem, so it's actually pretty easy to get. And Phantom resistance is going to be putting his resistance at 60, so against most units he's going to be debuffing their attack. You can also use him in summoner duels, and this is pretty much his main game mode where he functions the best. And in this game mode, you gotta make the most out of him. So you can ally support him with some slower unit who does not have a player phase or who wants to have the auto follow-up attack. And the support partner can also have a 2-turn cooldown special so that you can, just go in and maybe get your unit traded by doing something like Holy Knight Aura of Legendary Secret or something like that. And then your ally supported unit can get the follow-up negation and the -2 special cooldown. So yeah, that is going to be really useful. And to make it more supportive, you can run double HP plus 5. Just stack up his HP so that you can use even pulse tie and also infantry pulse. Infantry pulse can definitely be pretty helpful for pre-charging some of these specials like Lethality Yuri for example. And it can also help especially if you have dual chrom, so you can just have pre-charged specials on your allies. You can also make use of sudden panic if you don't really think that your team needs even pulse tie. And in a lot of matchups, sudden panic is going to be helpful. So this just takes the HP stacking further. You definitely need more HP for sudden panic than you need for even pulse tie. And at max investment, he can definitely run a unity skill that can give him attack. Now I know he does have defense respond 4, but still at max investment his attack can actually be pretty high and he can definitely hit pretty hard. Galzus is a sword infantry unit with 182 BST, and unfortunately he does not come with a weapon, which is really disappointing because he's such a strong unit in Thracia and also a fan favorite. So he comes with Rain Sword Plus, which pretty much has speed defense rain built into it. So this can be useful for supporting your allies as well. And he does have Surge Sparrow and Null Follow-Up as his passives, making his fodder really good. So he's pretty much a unit who's locked to 5-star rarity because of his fodder. But he's not really a bad unit. He has amazing offensive stat spread of 43 base attack and 41 base speed. And his speed also has super boon in it. His defense is at 36, which is on the higher side, but resistance is not really going to be all that high. And the fact that he comes on a banner with Ascended Mareeta is going to be making it really hard to justify investing into him. And because he does not have a preferred weapon and he cannot easily be merged, he's going to be facing competition even from someone like Yenfei, who's really popular these days as a merge project. And even outside of that, a 5-star locked unit like Brave Marth has, pretty similar stat spread, but also has a really strong preferred weapon and a preferred special. So Galzus definitely has a lot of trouble in standing out, but still if you're a big fan of him, then here are some of the builds that he can run. So Surge Sparrow is mainly going to be player phase, and that's why we can run a player phase Slotsy skill in Savage Blow. And Blade Session does have good synergy for just improving your offenses. You can also run Ninja Katana Plus, and this is definitely one of the better weapons of Galzus because of the fact that he has got extremely high attack and also really good speed. So he can quad attack and he can also hit extremely hard, like having 57 attack with a ninja weapon at only +1 merge is definitely quite impressive. And you can also run him as a mixed phase unit if you don't really want to make use of just the player phase with Search Sparrow. Then attack speed solo is going to be helpful in both Sacred Seal and slot A, and you can definitely run a damage reduction skill like Close Call. If you want to use him competitively, then of course he does not stand out, but one of the standard ways of using these kinds of fast sword infantry units is to definitely use them for Gale Force, and Slaying Edge does give you 4-turn Gale Force, and because of his good HP he can definitely infantry pulse down some other allies, and this could be useful in the light season where you can provide you with some variety in terms of your Gale Force units compared to the Astro season where we already have Regan as a red unit. And you can also use him in Arena at max investment with a really stacked build. This is going to be taking a lot of premium fodder. In Arena, Unbound Blade is definitely really helpful as rallies are quite common, and here Vital Astra is used mainly for the damage output rather than for the damage reduction. And finally, he could be used with Winterburn Vendetta with a pretty standard build with Ardent Sacrifice and Flashing Blade 4. So Ninja Katana is going to be allowing him to have the quad attacks, and because of running Frenzy, he can pretty much quad attack consecutively, and he can easily get into the range of Wings of Mercy and Frenzy at the same time by Ardent Sacrificing 3 times. And that is pretty much going to be how he's going to be trying to initiate Gale Force for your team, and right from the start he's going to be having Wings of Mercy allies activated, and because we know that he's going to be at 50% HP, a Brazen Sacred Seal definitely works out. So this kind of build can work out on any kind of fast unit who can make use of the ninja weapons, and Galzus can definitely do that with his high attack stat. Karin is the final unit of this banner, and she's a Lance Flyer with Allied Lance Plus, which is a new inheritable weapon, which is basically a Lance version of Love Candelabra that Groom Zealot had. This basically has Joint Drive attack and Joint Drive defense built into it, so it's a really nice support weapon, but most of the time this kind of weapon is going to be better suited on a dancer like Resplendent Azura or Dancer Eldigan that a lot of people build up. So this kind of support can definitely help your allies, and for the most part offensive flyers are going to be running the other lances. So Karin is actually pretty similar to Marcia that we recently got, and she's also a Gen 6 Lance Flyer. The only difference between these two units is that their defenses are flipped. So Marcia ends up having more defense while Karin ends up having more resistance. Now I do feel like having extra defense is a lot better as a Lance Flyer for the melee matchups, but Karin does have attack super boon, which Marcia does not have. So technically Karin can hit a bit harder because of that super boon. So pretty much just pick a Pegasus Knight that you like to build up, and you can build up any of these units, and their performance is going to be extremely similar. She also provides you with attack defense form 3 at 4-star, and this is a really good budget skill for a lot of enemy phase units because it's really easy to position them, and most of the time they can just stay near their allies to get the support for maybe Flame or some drive skill or some other allies. So it's a really good budget skill that we have now got in the 4-star summon pool. For building up Karin on a budget, you can simply go with the supportive role that Allied Lance tries to give her, and you can just run a Link skill and reposition from Norn and just stack up drive attack. You can also use her at Plus and Merge if you do max invest into her, and Unbound Lance Plus is going to be one of the better weapons that is present in the normal summoning pool, so it's going to be really helpful for making this kind of build possible with attack speed catch 4, a trace skill, and a range skill, which is all really standard on any kind of Lance Flyer. Ninja Naginata Plus is a player phase weapon, and you can get that from 4-star Ninja Male Karin, and this provides you with true damage, and you can just combo it up with Dive Bomb and Susparo so that you can consecutively attack 4 times. Unfortunately, follow-up negation units are going to be annoying with this kind of build, and speaking of those units, Flow Guard is here to just disable those follow-up negation skills. So if you're trying to focus on a player phase build, then Flow Guard could be a good option, especially with Thor being on Hero Rises banner, and Third Sparrow is going to be providing you with that healing, as Springy Lance gives you the extra offenses. Piercing Tribute Plus and Flow Guard pretty much make you have a bootleg null follow up, as Piercing Tribute disables the skill that provide auto follow up to the enemies in both phases, and Flow Guard prevents the follow up negation skills only in the player phase. So this can definitely be pretty nice on a unit who doesn't have a preferred weapon, and this is pretty much going to be one of the ways of giving a flying unit null follow up like this. And if you do invest into her for arena purpose, then she can score 180 BST without a dual skill. You'll have to run 300 SP Slotsy's skill because she does not have a preferred weapon, and Trey's skills are incredibly good on flying units and arena in general. So hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously, and if you really enjoyed, you could always support me directly by using super thanks or by becoming a YouTube member. And for more FEH videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because I wish noob sub boxes were about as fast as Mareeta and Galzus. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.